Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing something a little bit different. We are going to be discussing mine and Josh's England team, who we reckon should be in the team and who should be starting in the games against San Marino tonight specifically, and the other ones coming up. Josh also runs the channel. His is a view from the stands. And my first question to you, Josh, is, are you there or thereabouts?
Wow, I'm here, so I must be on the right stream, mate.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, how are you feeling for the games this international break?
Yeah, mixed really. Obviously, there's part of me with the international break that I, sort of really do look forward to seeing a lot of new talented players, people making their debuts, getting to see the sort of ideas of England. The other sense of me sometimes, though, when you see some of the fixtures and, for example, San Marino, Albania, you sort of go like, is it really the games I want to be seeing for England playing at the moment? I'm not so sure, but yeah, you got to stay positive, got to stay optimistic, and I think the build up, the fact that we've got a Euro tournament in less than 3 or 4 months is super exciting, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think the debate is that they say that obviously we're ruining people's legs really over the course of international breaks for no reason, but I guess this one has a bit more reason because there are some World Cup qualifiers mixed in with those as well. So I think it's a really interesting team that we've got set up as well, which is even better for us. There's a lot of big talking points looking at the squad, which has been given to us by Gareth Southgate. We'll do a quick run through of the squad, and then we will jump into our team, what formations we want to play. So the quick run through of the squad. I'll just quickly share my screen. Share screen. Here we are. So I'm just currently on the website for the FA, and this is the squad currently. Obviously, some of the debutants don't actually have a photo in the England kit so far, which is why Sam Johnston isn't actually there. But I promise you, he is there, and he is actually going to be playing. So in goal, we have Nick Pope and Dean Henderson. Jordan Pickford has dropped out because of injury, which means it's an excellent opportunity for Sam Johnston. Really excellent opportunity for him. Playing at West Brom at the minute maybe deserves a little bit more credit than he's got currently, potentially. I'll leave that one up to you guys to decide. If I can find my mouse wherever that's disappeared to. Here we are. We're back on the screen again. Defenders, we have Tyrone Mings, Eric Dyer, Kyle Walker, Bukayo Saka, Harry Maguire, Rhys James, Ben Chilwell, and Luke Shaw and John Stones. So the big talking points in these two is Luke Shaw and John Stones, both returning to the team after a sort of a lengthy absence from the England team. Deserved in your opinion, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. Both have played themselves back into form for club. John Stones has had the season of his life, showing that Pep Guardiola can trust him, has developed a sensational partnership with Ruben Diaz to the sense that he has kept Aymeric Laporte out of the Manchester City team and has looked an absolute, solid option there. In terms of Luke Shaw, again, similar, probably been one of Manchester United's most consistent and most reliable players, which I think is credit to him. He dealt with the pressure of Alex Telles coming to Manchester United, and fair play to him. Thought they both absolutely deserve the England call up. Now, can they take that form onto the international stage?
Yes, that is the question. And Luke Shaw, you can tell by how old his picture is there, how long it's actually been since he's consistently got in the team. You'll see that as well with Jesse Lingard, whose face we can see just there. And Kieran Trippier rounds off the defenders. Kieran Trippier seems to manage to get into this team no matter what at the minute. Him and Eric Dyer can't seem to do anything wrong in Gareth Southgate's eyes. And we'll talk a little bit about that further on. So next up, we have the dream duo of Declan Rice and Mason Mount. Childhood best friends right next to each other. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Youngster Jude Bellingham, again, getting back into the squad. Jesse Lingard, the mighty Lingard, getting back in. And I think everyone loves Jesse Lingard. I don't know what it is. Everyone just seems to love Jesse Lingard at the moment. And I honestly couldn't even describe it to you. It's just one of them players that everyone seems to love. And he just doesn't seem to do a foot wrong. Even when he wasn't scoring the goals, it was just fantastic. Especially, I don't know if you saw that bet of Jesse Lingard, which was someone bet on Jesse Lingard not to score for the entirety of the season and then scored in the 95th minute in the Leicester City game on the last day of the season. Unreal stuff, unheard of, absolutely unreal. Calvin Phillips and James Ward-Prowse fill the midfield. We discussed it. Well, I discussed it yesterday in your stream, actually, Josh, didn't I? Midfield doesn't really fill me with any excitement. I don't know what your opinions are on that, but to me, it's not the most exciting midfield selections.
I think they're quite good technical players, but they're not game changers. They're not players who will get you off the edge of their seat. I think James Ward-Prowse thoroughly deserves to be in that England mix, and I would love to see James Ward-Prowse find a way of getting into the team somehow. I don't think it's possible because of what he can do from dead ball and set pieces. I don't think we've had anyone ever replace David Beckham. And since we've never had a player since David Beckham be an absolute weapon from set pieces. Kieran Trippier showed a little bit in the World Cup with his free kicks, but genuinely don't. But yeah, as you said, it's not a midfield that will get you off your seat and wins games and changes games, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, totally agree with you there, mate. I must agree with you. And I think you're forgetting Harry Kane used to be on corners, so don't say there wasn't anything good about our set pieces. Roy Hodgson put Harry Kane on corners. Next up is Captain Fantastic, Harry Kane, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Phil Foden, Marcus Rashford, Ollie Watkins, who is there. He just hasn't made his debut yet, and Raheem Sterling. So the attack fills me with a bit more joy than the midfield. Obviously, Phil Foden is actually a midfielder, but he gets classed as a forward. Not particularly sure why. Probably where he plays in City, more plays as a wide creator in the City midfield rather than a defensive midfielder, which is probably why he's got that position. But that attack definitely fills me with some joy. It definitely looks like it could be dangerous for us. So I will just have a look. We'll move to the comments because it looks like there's been a couple of comments of people joining. So Josh Wilkinson's keeping up to date with the Northern Ireland squad. Thank you, Josh, to play Italy. There you are. If anyone's interested, there is the squad for tonight. Farhan says, "Hey, lovely to see you, mate. Thank you for coming on as always." Active Aaron says, these easier games, I want Southgate to try and merge 3-4-3 and 4-3-3 in-game flexibility. Yes, I think we're going to speak on that a little bit later on. That is one of the things which is really noticeable about this England side, and specifically Eric Dyer and Declan Rice, their ability to transition from midfield to attack. So that is two players specifically, and Josh Wilkinson coming up with the actual England squad for tonight against San Marino. So the squad is Pope, Rhys James, Connor Cody, Stones, Chilwell, James Ward-Prowse, Declan Rice, Mason Mount, Sterling, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Can't remember the other one, but that's pretty much the team that we have. So I'm sure we'll find that out. I'll try and find it in a second when I'm not rambling on about nothing. And Lingard is what Josh put. So lovely to see Lingard back in the team. What do you make to that side now that Josh has told us that one, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I said in my England video is that for San Marino, I want to see quite a strong team with a few players being rested, and one of them was Harry Kane. I said you may as well rest Harry Kane because he plays every minute for Spurs, and he deserves probably a bit of a rest. The fact he's probably rested Harry Maguire as well is a key thing to see there. But essentially, I'm glad he's got Nick Pope in goal. I'm glad that Nick Pope is being selected. Glad to see Stones get thrown in. Would have liked to see Luke Shaw, but hopefully he plays in the next game. And I think overall, I think that front four with Lingard, Sterling, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Mount, I think, I don't mind that at all. It's San Marino. That team should still absolutely demolish them, but yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I must say it looks good, and I think the important thing is resting those players. I touched on it briefly in my video this week, so if you haven't seen either of mine or Josh's videos, be sure to go check them out. The link to Josh's channel is in the description, so whilst you're over there, make sure to hit subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to Josh. So we've both spoken about it briefly, but I was speaking about Trent specifically, and I said maybe dropping Trent isn't a bad thing for Gareth Southgate because Trent Alexander-Arnold has been playing so much this season, and maybe it'll just give him that little bit of time off just to get him back into the team and get him back into form as well, because I think the lack of his form has really affected Liverpool as well. Erin says, hey, enjoying the stream so far. Thank you, Erin. I hope you're okay, and I hope you're not feeling too tired after your 3 a.m. start this morning. Are you streaming the game today? Josh is streaming the game later on, so be sure to get over there if you want to have a quick watch along with Josh. I'm sure it'll be good. In that front three, Lingard will be coming in more, whereas Sterling looks to get behind. So good balance. Yeah, I think I agree. I think it'll be interesting to see how Dominic Calvert-Lewin is used there, Aaron. I think whether he plays that sort of Kane role, dropping in and laying the ball off, is, we'll have to wait and see, or whether it goes to Sterling and Jesse Lingard being you basically just a winger and trying to get the ball in. That'll be also interesting. So we'll have a quick chat about formations, and there have been a couple of formations that England have played recently. Those which are most noticeable are the two which Aaron mentioned earlier on, which is 3-4-3 and 4-3-3, which he mentioned in his comment. And I think they're most likely for us to play over the course of this international break to get us warmed up for the international break. Josh, which one would you be more inclined to choose if you were Gareth Southgate?
4-3-3.
4-3-3.
I think. Well, I would like to see 4-3-3, but I think Gareth will choose 3-4-3 personally. And I think when you play three at the back, and I know you're a Chelsea fan, so in terms of this, but I think when you play three at the back, it's because you don't trust your defence. You don't trust your defensive capabilities. You don't think you've got a strong enough back four or two centre halves, so you always go three at the back. It's every reason why a coach plays three at the back. So I feel like, does Gareth Southgate have enough trust in Harry Maguire and ex-player that he chooses to go alongside him, whether that's John Stones? That's the big question. Ultimately, I don't think Maguire can be trusted by Gareth Southgate, and that's why I feel like he will play a back three, Sam.
Yeah, I can see that as well. When you look at the defensive options we have, that second centre-half role is probably one of the weakest in the whole squad. I could see him using Walker as a centre-back. I like Walker as a centre-back because of the recovery runs. I think he's an excellent player for that, getting him behind. And, well, stopping people getting him behind, should I say. And also, he's the quickest player on the pitch. Why not have him at centre-half?
That makes me. I can't look at it. It makes me ill. It makes me ill because when I see him come out with the ball with his feet, he looks like Bambi on ice, and it makes me ill. And it's, I see the recovery pace, and that comes in every now and then. But honestly, we will be dominating the ball in the group stages. And if I see Kyle Walker trying to unlock a defence who are parking the bus against us, it would, it just makes me ill. And I thought we were gone past those stages of having Kyle Walker in the squad to be as like a CB. If he's playing, I want him playing at right back, but I can't look at it. It makes me ill, as I said.
Yeah. The problem is, though, because we've got that many right backs, Kyle Walker playing in centre back does give us a different option. And it also means that when we've got him there, if someone like a Rice isn't on, then we can move to a 4 at the back without, a 3 at the back without shifting the team around too much, and just by bringing one of your wingers back rather than having to reshift the team entirely. So it does have its benefits. It does have its pros and cons, but. Yeah. Mitch says, scenes when Southgate plays 3 at the back with 6 wing backs at the Euros. I would not be surprised at this point, especially with Callum Hudson-Odoi trying to get in as a wing back as well. I think we're going to have too many options at right wing back specifically, and then shoving Trippier over in that left back role as well. So it's going to be a difficult run. And the Ring family are in again tonight. Good evening to you both, June and Chris. Thank you for joining us. Surely has to be a non-event tonight. Hopefully it's just a nice, easy night for England, and hopefully there's no problems. What do you think? What do you reckon, Josh?
Well, the thing is, I think it's a lose-lose, because if we don't win by more than 3 or 4, people say England are rubbish, awful, need to do more. If England play poor, which there could be a chance that we don't look fluid, people are going to criticise. So unless we win like 6 or 7-0 and we play fast for attacking football, I don't think anyone's going to be happy. And that's why playing San Marino is just such a minnow team. And I don't know what he can gain from this, apart from maybe knowing, I don't know, like Nick Pope, like is he really going to be tested tonight? How do we know if Nick Pope's a good keeper? Because you're playing San Marino. It just, it's a hard one. It is a hard one.
Exactly. Well, we have dilly-dallied along enough at the moment, so we will move on to, I've got a tactical board up, so me and Josh can start naming our team for who we would have liked to have seen tonight. So when it loads, here we are, ladies and gents. We have the tactical board. So I have just literally listed everyone as in what order I could name them, and this is the order we have gone with. So probably the reason I've done it like this is because it's probably the team I would want to name if we were to play a back four. Josh, I don't know who you would change out of that attacking lineup.
So I would be binning off Walker at right back.
Yeah.
And I'd be playing Rhys James. That would be my back four. But yeah, I completely agree with that back four. Shaw, Maguire, Stones, Rhys James. I would then. So I'm looking at if this was the team to play Poland, because I would say Poland is the hardest opponent. So who would I want to see the strongest out of this squad? Because there's no Jack Grealish. Sad times. But because he would obviously be in that starting lineup if there was Jack Grealish. But so what I would then do is I would play Rice, like you've got Matt. And I would, it's interesting. I would, maybe Ward-Prowse gets a game, but I would also like to see Jude Bellingham. And the reason I say Jude Bellingham is that he's been playing Champions League football week in, week out. He starts every game for Dortmund. If we've got Bellingham and he's not being used for the under-21s, then use him in this squad and use his talents. So, but I did also say to you earlier that I want Ward-Prowse in the team. So that one's a toss-up, that third centre mid spot. I would take out Marcus Rashford. Yeah, and I'd put Raheem Sterling on the left because I think I don't think Sterling can naturally play off the left. And this is another problem that England faces. They don't have a right winger. They don't have, apart from Jadon Sancho, and frustratingly, Sam, Jadon Sancho is now a player who basically wants to play off that left wing. For Dortmund, he's been playing off the left and he's rediscovered his form. So you're thinking, wow, I thought you were nailed down. So I would go with right wing Phil Foden because he's done that for Man City. He's done that for Man City. He can play that role. So you've got Sterling and Foden who play for the best club in England, playing in those two positions. I've just seen someone in the comments say I'd have Foden in the centre mid three. You could put him in there, but I would then ask who would you play wide right, and if so, is Bukayo Saka worth a place on the wide right? I don't know. I don't think so. So that's what I'd probably go if we're playing 4-3-3. Yeah. If we're playing 4-2-3-1, Sam, you could get another attacker on there, which is interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. Mitch has just said that Rashford is injured, so he will have to drop out. I did say this after the last international break because Raheem Sterling I think he was injured for it, but he was doubtful for the first two games. And then for the final game, he just didn't play. And I was fuming because we played Jadon Sancho in a nothing game, and we should have played him in that game against Belgium later on, and that could have absolutely solved it. So at least Rashford has pulled out now, and that could potentially mean that someone else might be able to step up. I don't know how it works on international breaks. Obviously, that happens at World Cups. You have your backups. So I tend to agree with that. Obviously, with Rashford now dropping out, that is a big one for us. So we'll just disregard Marcus Rashford for the time being, and we will just chuck him to one side. We'll move him out the way. So Rhys James for me is a really difficult player to line up. I think as a Chelsea fan, I agree he's a fantastic player. He's really, really a good all-round player, but whether he's better than the likes of Walker and Trippier is up for debate. I'll have to see what the comments think to that. You guys will have to let me know if you think who is better out of those three right-back positions, because I think it's a really difficult one to go with. I think the option we do have, like we said earlier, when we have Rhys James and Luke Shaw on this pitch, is that if we are defending or we wanted to put more pressure on, we can go to a three at the back and let Declan Rice sit in there, and then Rhys James and Luke Shaw can form almost a 3-4-3. and then that gives us a completely different option. Declan Rice is a very, very good centre defensive midfielder, and I do think, especially with Ward-Prowse and Mason Mount in there, I think we've got enough. I think when Jordan Henderson returns, instead of James Ward-Prowse, then this midfield too will be fantastic if we want to drop Declan Rice in there and move him around in there. So, yeah, if I was to do a 3 at the back, I think 3 at the back wise, I would start Walker. Rhys James would come in, and I think, what 3 at the back formation do we usually play? That is the question. So let's move these down, and then I need to take one person off the pitch, which is always the problem. And I think I would have to do this. I don't know if this is just my Mount bias, but moving Mason Mount out and probably agreeing with you, especially with Rashford out, that Phil Foden stays in that attacking wide right position and moving them forward. I don't know what you think to that team as a 3-4-3. Obviously, I know you said you don't like Walker as the centre half, but I would prefer to have Kyle Walker in there than Eric Dyer. I don't think Eric Dyer deserves to be in this squad at all. I
would play Mings. So I would put Maguire in the middle, Stones RCB and Mings LCB. So you have a left footer in there. Because at the moment you've got a back 3. I always think if you play 3 at the back, you need a left footer in there as well. So you've got you got 3 predominant right foot players. So yeah, I'll do something similar to that. I think.
That's who I missed. I missed Tyrone Mings off the list, even though I've got 25 there, but nevertheless.
And the reason why I'm very opposed to playing like that sort of formation that you can see, and also the fact that, you know, even if you played Declan Rice dropping in as you demonstrated on the screen, is that unless you've got a Dani Alves or a Marcelo, who are predominant fullbacks who absolutely push on, I just don't see what Luke Shaw and Rhys James can bring you an attacking third that a winger or a centre mid can't do. So my understanding is if you play fullbacks higher up or wider or want them to bomb on, I think they have to be the best players you are. And I think there are very few now. You know, you talk about your Jordi Albas, your Marcellos, your Dani Alves. Even Man City now with Cancelo, they drop him into a box midfield. They don't, fullbacks for me are almost just, I want a fullback to defend well and have good distribution and get forward every now and then. And I just think sometimes we try and force a fullback to be a lot more attacking in a final third. So that's where maybe I'd look at James Ward-Prowse playing as that right wing back instead of Rhys James, purely because we've got someone on there who can be good at set pieces. He has played there for Southampton. And essentially, Ward-Prowse has got a great what's one of his strongest attributes? His dead ball / his delivery. He could cross from deep areas. Rhys James and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Walker and Trippier, 1 in 5 crosses are good. Ward-Prowse, you're going 3 out of 5. So I'm just very, I think we've got to, I'm just very anti it. But that's what I would do if we were to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Tyrone Mings offers that slightly different option as well because he's a left footer. You said it on a few live streams ago. He is a left footer. That is always important to have in your team. But looking at this defensive lineup, I think playing Maguire alongside Shaw could really, really be helpful because they've got that link up between the two of them. And that is something that is unprecedented. You don't realise how good a link-up is until you actually play in one and you get used to someone playing like that, which is maybe why Stones, for me, and Walker together could, be helpful. Obviously, Cancelo has been fantastic, whether he's played off the left or the right this year. He has been fantastic in that Manchester City side. But building the chemistry between them is a fantastic thing to do. In that midfield, if we could have anyone, who would you play alongside Declan Rice? I know I'm probably being harsh on Mason Mount, but I think Declan Rice is very much a player who I think is a staple player in this team, and I think he's going to be in this squad for a long, long time to come. So who would you play if we were playing a 3-4-3 or a 5, whatever, 2-3? Who would you play in that midfield role next to Declan Rice, and why?
So, as you mentioned, someone's name Henderson earlier, who isn't in this squad. So if I was going, if he was fully fit, it's hard to not have Henderson in the team because of his leadership, because of who he is. I think a Bellingham wouldn't be able to do that role. So you rule out Bellingham, you rule out Calvin Phillips because him and Rice are too similar. So it's too negative. It's too, unless you gave Rice, Sam, a license to go on a bit more forward and be a bit more box to box, and Phillips sits in. So you really are limited in the sense that, yeah, we are struggling. As you said, it's not the most joyous midfield area at the moment for England. So yeah, it's Ward-Prowse or Mount. But I love how attacking Mount can be. So it's all about balance, but it's all about getting the best out of your players. Now, there's no point playing Mason Mount and saying, sorry, lad, you got to be a bit more defensive today. That's not his game. So don't play him. If Gareth Southgate is restricting our best players, and Mount is probably up there as one of the most consistent performers this season, then don't restrict him. Play him where he should. So hopefully that sort of answers what you're looking for. But
yeah, absolutely. I think the thing with Mason Mount is when you look across this midfield, I think Jude Bellingham's probably too young at the minute. I think he might be there in the future. I think he might be up to the level of Mason Mount. I know that's quite a weird thing to say because Mason Mount is 21, 22 max, but Jude Bellingham is still very young. Jesse Lingard isn't going to play on there. I once got absolutely rinsed for once saying Jesse Lingard should play in a midfield, and I can see that Mitch is in the comments, so I'm not gonna even bother trying to say that because last time I said it, Mitch absolutely flipped out at me, and he was a United fan. I do agree, though, Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice next to each other would be too defensive. And I think this is where the problem arises, is you need someone like a Kovacic in that midfield to drive you forward. And Mason Mount can offer that at times. I think the one thing with Mason Mount is his ability to beat a player isn't as good as the likes of your Fodens, your James Maddison's, if you will, and your Jack Grealish's. So that is the one problem. If you are going to take the ball out from midfield, it's going to have to be passed out with Mason Mount because he's a great dribbler, but he's not the best at beating players, which is the problem in that midfield. So Kane is obviously not playing tonight. Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes in. It's massive, massive debate. Who would you take to Euros if Harry Kane gets injured? Who would you take as your starters? So tonight we've obviously got Dominic Calvert-Lewin in there and Ollie Watkins. Who would you take? Would you take I guess a fit Danny Ings? Who would you take over?
It's an interesting debate, isn't it? If Kane was injured, could happen with his injury record. Who would I take? Not Tammy Abraham.
Not Tammy.
Oh no, not Tammy. Not Tammy. And I'm a Villa fan, and he was great for Villa, and we loved him. But not Tammy. Danny Ings. Not sure. Something not quite right there with Danny Ings. Obviously, not Callum Wilson. So I would look at DCL. Watkins, I think, for third or fourth choice. But I wouldn't be surprised if he plays Rashford down the middle, Sam. Rashford as the number 9, interestingly.
Here he is. He's made his comeback.
Rashford down the middle, potentially, if Harry Kane was out injured. How much can we go with DCL? How much can we trust him? I mean, he is a good player, but experience, international tournament. I don't know. If you have Rashford, we're a lot more dynamic and we're a lot more nimble up front, aren't we? And we've got a lot of pace. Pace is one of the hardest things to mark. And so imagine a front three of Rashford, Sterling, Grealish, Sancho, all incredible pace. But then the other way is, does Gareth want a big target man? Does Gareth want someone to link the play? And if so, DCL is your man. And I just don't know how I honestly don't see how Rashford gets into an England starting lineup. I really struggle to see it. Unless you play him wide right, which is not his position. If you watch him at Manchester United, he cannot play there when he gets forced out there. And the last England game, I don't know if you remember, but him, Harry Kane and Sterling kept having a fight over who would go and be the right winger. They kept all drifting onto one side and no one was filling out the right wing spot. So it's an interesting one.
That's the thing. The modern day footballer, the modern day winger, they like to go so that they can cut in. It's not as it used to not be as frequent as this. You used to have your left footers on your left hand side, your right footers on your right hand side. But now we've got to this stage where everyone drifts out wide. I think Tammy Abraham is probably at the minute. I think it's the lack of game time that with Tammy Abraham. I think he doesn't consistently play for Chelsea. Why would he be the first choice for England when they have a few options? Let's have a look at the comments before me and Josh try and do our come to an opinion of who is going to be in the team for us. So Greg says he disagrees with Rhys James. He puts in incredible crosses. It's the attackers' positions for his club. Yeah, I think part of the problem for Rhys James is the fact that no one gets on the end of it, which is one of the things which makes his stats look worse. I think if he had someone, even like a Peter Crouch, just someone who's going to stand there and actually attack the ball, he'd do much better. I like 3 at the back, but I really dislike formations with 2 centre mids. The wide forwards would need to act like attacking centre mids, like Foden and Grealish did last game. Yeah, I see what you mean there, Aaron. I really see what you mean. I do think there is something about a 2 centre midfield role that just doesn't sit right with me, like a 2 midfield role to that degree, unless you have a Kovacic or someone to drive you out. And I love Mateo Kovacic for Chelsea because of that. He's able to drive you out of any sticky situation. There's literally no point in pressing Mateo Kovacic. He'll just skip by you. But yeah, I totally agree with you there, mate. Josh is going with his prediction of 5-0. Yeah, guys, let us know what do you think the prediction will be. And make sure, if you are new, I can see there's 11 people in the stream tonight. So make sure if you are new to go down, smash that like button on my channel, and then go and smash it on Josh's channel as well. He will be streaming the football later on. So get on the phone to Vardy if Kane's injured. Yeah. Would you do that, Josh? Would that be a protocol for you?
Hypothetically, yeah, but he won't ever do it. Vardy said he'll never come back now. So, but hypothetically, 100%. But I don't think Vards is interested anymore.
Yeah, I think you just give it a shot. You go, look, Jamie, you'll be starting every game, and I think offer him a few Vardy bombs, and he might be in. Ings and DCL are surely the best 2 options if Kane is injured. Yeah, I think they offer 2 different options as well. Actually, there, Mitch. I think they are 2 different strikers. Maybe Ings is a little bit quicker than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, though, is closer to that Kane sort of mould. And Rashford is England's best option from the left flank. Endlessly fun player. Also consider his chemistry with Shaw all season. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, about chemistry. Having players who know how to play with each other is vitally important in any team, and especially in an England team. We saw it years ago in that golden generation of England footballers that they just didn't mould very well with each other, and that's because they were all rivals. Whereas having players who are good mates, Jesse Lingard will be another one coming in. He now knows a lot of the squad. People like this, they're really important to a team. So, Josh, the final bit, and the bit we've been waiting for. Let's try and name a team between the 2 of us. What formation are we going to go with? What formation do you want? And then I'll say what formation I want. And then we'll go to the comments and see what formation we should stick with.
4-2-3-1, I'd love to see.
4-2-3-1. So let me just move everyone around so we can see what 4-2-3-1 looks like. And move him out the way. We need a right winger then, don't we? 4-2-3. I'll chuck Lingard in there. 4-2-3-1. So my option would be 4. I guess it's kind of similar actually, if the way I phrase it. Yeah, I think I'll agree with that, provided that Declan Rice stays in that team.
Yeah, he's in mine. Yeah, 100%.
Sweet. So start off in goal, Henderson or Pope. I think this one is a pretty easy one. I think it's got to be Pope. The reason I say that is I don't doubt that Dean Henderson is a fantastic goalkeeper. Don't doubt that for a second. But Nick Pope has played pretty much every game for Burnley this season and is maybe a little bit underrated. I hate to say it, but I think he maybe is a little bit underrated. And because he plays for Burnley, that makes it difficult. So I think Dean Henderson, though, former Grimsby Town man, just in case if you didn't know that one, but Dean Henderson, I just don't think he's played enough. I think he needs to get David De Gea out of that squad, or keep him out of that squad, not literally force him out of the squad. That'd be strange. But I think he needs to get him out of the squad so that he can actually, provide some class to the Manchester United team. Left back, Ben Chilwell, I guess Kieran Trippier, or Luke Shaw.
I'd like to see Luke Shaw.
Yeah, I think if you'd have asked me this 2 months ago, I think I'd have gone with Chilwell. But right now, I think we go Luke Shaw. I think you need to make the most of the players when they're on form. I think we need to make the most of him, and he has been fantastic. There's reasons why people have been comparing him to Roberto Carlos, and most of it's a joke, but it's because he's been playing fantastic and he's changed this. He's changed this season around. Moving on to the two centre halves, we'll start with left centre back. Are you sticking with Maguire and Stones?
Yeah. They've got to be the two if you're playing two. Absolutely, two best ones in England.
Yeah, I definitely think so. The one thing I think is Stones has a mistake in him. Maguire obviously has a mistake in him, but Stones does have a mistake in him. It'd be nice if we could get someone who's a bit less mistake prone in that defence, just to then, maybe that's why he plays three at the back. Maybe he's seen, there was a mistake in the semi-finals from John Stones, and it's football have short memories, so stuff like that goes out very quickly. But it's a really difficult one. It's a really difficult one to pick. So right back, who are you saying? He's sticking with Rhys James?
Yeah, Rhys James gets the nod from me.
Rhys James. Midfield three. Obviously, I've chucked Lingard in there. Who would you play in that attacking midfield role? Are we settled on Mount and Rice?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially with this squad?
Yeah, with this squad, definitely. Obviously, as you said, we've got no Grealish, no Sancho, no Maddison. So there are like some of the noticeable ones that'd be interesting where, but I still think Mount has to start regardless if he's available. I think, if Rice sits, Mount can play there 100%. 100% can play there. You've seen him at Chelsea. You know what he can do. You know how good he is.
Yeah.
You know how good he is. And so Lingard, or I don't know, could you play Sterling or Foden as a 10 and get but Rashford's not available. I was going to say Rashford, but he's not available now, is he?
No.
I would go, on form. Why not Lingard? Why not Lingard on form? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Jude Bellingham's not good enough in that attacking midfield role. No. And unless you can move a Foden in and then...
Or I'd go Saka. I'd go Saka wide right. He's been Arsenal's best player this season, carried Arsenal. Foden as a cam. We all want to see Foden cam, don't we? I don't know. Yeah.
It's either that or you you move Mount into cam, take out Lingard, keep Foden wide right and move Ward-Prowse in that midfield role alongside Rice. So, and then attacking lineup, are we set with those three up front? I think with Rashford out, I think I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, if Rashford was in, it would be a very good debate. But now we know that he's out. That is the best front three available, isn't it? Attacking-wise.
Typical Marcus Rashford, killing all the debates for us, killing all the debates.
Love that from him. Love that.
Well, guys, that's all we've got time for tonight. Josh has to pop off for his tea, and he has got a stream later on, so we can't keep him too long. But if you have enjoyed, be sure to jump on his stream later, and leave a message and let him know that you're there. That has been our team. This is the team which we want to play this evening. Unfortunately, we already know the squads, but it's one of those things. If you have enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and most importantly, stay safe. Cheers, guys. Cheers.